Welcome everybody to the Trail Moments Challenge celebration. And I would argue that this is even more than just a celebration of the challenge. I think it's a celebration of so many months of time that many of us have spent on the trails over the course of the past couple of years in particular. I'm Brandi Horton. I'm the Vice President of Communications at Rails to Trails Conservancy, and I'm privileged to bring together this great group of folks we have today from all across the country. And while everyone is stateside right now, also really all across the world, which is super cool for us. Part of what inspired us to do this today and to share these stories is the pandemic, and is kind of over the past 18 months, we have heard from thousands and thousands of people how much trails have meant to them. I think if you follow us regularly, you'll have seen that we had over a 50% increase in trail use nationwide in 2020. And as we've gone through 2021, we've seen a lot of that engagement, a lot of that participation on trails maintain. People have really connected with these spaces in their communities in a new way. Folks, needed to get outside, and now they want to get outside. We're seeing not just on trails, but across kind of data about public lands and looking at folks kind of in parks and in outdoor spaces. Something really changed for us in terms of kind of wanting to be outdoors, connecting with each other, connecting with nature. Arguably, it's still one of the safest places that you can be right now as the pandemic continues to evolve. And we've just seen so much value in that space. But one of the things at Rails to Trails we wanted to do was connect with folks who are new to trails and get to know folks who might not otherwise be in our ecosystem, right? People that weren't necessarily rail trail enthusiasts before, but who have found these spaces, and really wanting to get to know them and get to know their stories and why trails were important to them. Partly because we want to inspire other folks to discover spaces in their community where they can be active, where they can start to build new healthy habits, make this part of their day-to-day life. So that's part of what inspired this Trail Moments Challenge that we just are wrapping up. The last day was over the weekend. And the idea was it takes 21 days to make a habit. What if that habit was spending 21 days doing different things out on the trail? And it can be everything from going on a short bike ride to a short walk to just kind of getting some fresh air and some respite and some peace from really all of the chaos that's in our day-to-day lives, especially now while we're still navigating so much. This picture behind me is a great reminder for myself of the respite and the joy that trails have brought into my life, in particular during the pandemic. And you can go to railstotrails.org/trail moments, and you can read all of these stories from all across the country. My story is there. Theresa and Albert, who are on with us today, their story is there. Just of the different types of joy, the outlets, the moments that we've all created on trails during this time, but things that I think have offered us lessons and connections that we'll continue to pursue. One of the other things we wanted to do today was to announce our winner for the challenge. So stay tuned for that. We were stuck in the Facebook outage of yesterday. So we weren't able to connect with folks on Facebook and Instagram the way we had planned to, but stay tuned, watch this space, and we will be sharing the winner of the challenge, who gets an unlimited TrailLink subscription for a year, which is really, really exciting. So before we go into kind of the experiences of the past year, kind of what trails mean to each of us, I want everyone to do a quick introduction. And so I'm going to kind of call on each of you and kind of make that happen. So we're going to start with, I see first in my boxes is Karen and Tomas.
Yes, hi. We're Karen and Tomas, and we live in Florida, and we ride the trails constantly, every day. It's a rare occasion that we're off a trail.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. Theresa and Albert, you're on different screens, but if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Theresa, you can go first.
Hi, I'm Theresa Giles, and like I said, we're in Jacksonville, Florida, and Rails to Trails literally changed my life.
And my name is Albert, of course, and I'm also in Florida. And stay tuned. You will hear about our story and how the trails have impacted our lives.
And Sushil, I see you and Luis next in my screen.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sushil Reddy. This is Luis. So I'm from India. Luis is from Mexico. We are doing a 6,900 mile journey across the US on electric bicycles. One of them is solar powered, and we have been using a lot of the trails so far in our cross country ride. It's been a very fun experience to ride so far, and we are looking forward to our journey ahead.
Yeah.
And Claudia.
Hello, everybody. I'm Claudia Rocco. I'm from Mexico. I used to live in Cancun and I moved to Fairfield, Iowa, almost 2 years ago. And I just discovered the trails and I am definitely in love with them. I walk every day with my dog and every day I discover a new piece of beautiful land surrendered of nature. So I love them.
And last but certainly not least, Sean.
Howdy, everyone. My name is Sean, commonly known as Hiking with Sean, and I'm from Southern Illinois and Shawnee National Forest country, and rail trails are a big part of my life. I look forward to the stream.
I love it. Thank you so much. Well, thank you again all for being with us today. And we're going to kick it off with a really, I think a question we've probably all reflected on a bit these past few months, but tell me a bit about what changed for you during COVID, and anyone can jump right on in and start.
I think what changed for us is when COVID went down, I just retired. And so we were stuck in Michigan and it was cold and dreary and not much to do. So we thought, well, let's, get outside and let's ride. And my wife and I bought a teardrop camper and she started her little blog on Instagram, Bike Trails and Teardrops. And then she decided, let's just go travel from state to state and ride as many rail trails as we can. So we try to pick the longer ones so we can stay in one spot for one day. And we'll usually ride 20, 25 out and 25 back and then jump to the next area and until we completed the trail. So it's been quite an experience and
a lot of miles, a lot of exciting territory, and always alone because there were nobody in campgrounds, really not a lot of people on the trails. It was winter actually when we took off. So
a lot of cold moments.
Yeah.
A lot of being snowed on, but.
Well, what they say, right? It's never too cold to be out on the trail. You just don't have the right gear, maybe.
Exactly.
You got to bundle up or have the right rain gear or whatever. You can do this stuff in all weather. All weather. Teresa, I see you unmuted. How about you guys? What changed for you all during COVID?
It was the same thing with COVID. You're in the house, and I first started because I was like, I can't get to the gym, but I got to get outside. So I started riding, and Albert would be like, "You are crazy. That's too long. You shouldn't be out on that bike, and something's going to happen to your body if you ride this bike." But then soon after, he fell in love with it, and then so Rails to Trails literally changed not only what we do, my life, my body, everything. I love it. But I'll let Albert tell the rest why he chose to start riding.
Yeah, so I did, and for me, why the trails mean so much to me is my mom passed away from COVID, and it was really a pretty down time for me. It was just something that was pretty depressing also, and I found that going out on the trails and just riding just brought a sense of peace. It allowed me to be able to not think so much about the fact that she had passed and had passed from COVID, but really you were able to go out, and unless you go out on the trail and experience it for yourself, where you are feeling this freedom, you are just able to almost be in touch with nature, and it brought a certain amount of serenity. It brought a certain amount of calmness. So for me, the trails meant a lot for me because it helped me from a mental perspective, right? From a mental health perspective, just to be able to cope with something when socially you weren't around people. You don't have a lot of people to talk to because we are lockdown during the pandemic, right? And so to be able to go out and to be able to ride and still be able to interact with people because there were so many people on the trail, that for me was something that was quite satisfying, and I continue to ride today. It is still something that I find absolutely calming, and it's an amazing experience. And I can tell you, for anyone that is experiencing anything like I experienced, get out on your bike, go out on that trail, and just start to ride. And it is amazing, just the feeling and the calmness that comes over you. So that's kind of why I have continued to ride, and why for me riding the trail has been so.
Well, let's talk about that. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I think that there's a lot of folks who have expressed that the trails have been, especially during this time, a place to process grief, whether that's loss of a loved one, loss of a job. We heard a wonderful story from a woman named Anna Maria in Wisconsin who had lost her job and felt, this lack of productivity, and being able to spend time on the trail was a space to do that. So much about the mental health and the physical health aspects of being out on the trail and kind of connecting with yourself and your body and connecting with nature. And Claudia and Sean, you both have great stories about connecting with your bodies and what that feels like on the trail.
Yeah, well, definitely trails changed my life. I just moved to Iowa from Cancun on December 2019, and the pandemic hit it on March 2020. So I think that the possibility to go out, and just be around the nature and just, walking was just perfect for my mental health. And also I decided to stop dieting because I used to have many problems with my relationship with food, my body, and movement and exercise. Exercise to me was punished, all the time. So because of trails, I could heal my relationship with exercise. So now I just walk and enjoy and breathe. And it's amazing because it's my opportunity to feel like grounded, and really, really enjoy movement. So it's just amazing. And during COVID lockdown, it was my salvation. So I'm super happy that I have this amazing opportunity to enjoy nature in this way.
And Sean, tell us a little bit about your journey on trails.
Well, when I discovered the rail trail, I was in probably my darkest time yet, health-wise, and just not in very good shape. And rail trails really put me on the right path to do that. And it helped me discover hiking, which in turn, if you fast forward to the COVID era, I'm able to pay it forward now and try to get more people into it and provide information of how they could do it. During COVID, the better part of COVID, I would see a lot of people riding and running and walking on the road. And I just don't think they really knew about the trail opportunities. So a lot of my mission was to bring people to the trails, bring the trails to the people so they can safely do it.
I think something when we've all talked here and kind of getting ready for today, and again, in the things people have shared with us, I think it's safe to say that trails really have changed people's lives. We know at Rails to Trails that's been true forever, but this has become this incredible focal point for so many people during this time. And I want to talk a little bit about what makes that trail connection and that experience so special. And I'm going to kick it off with Sushil, but I think you all have really great reasons why the trails are a special place.
Yeah, so in our rides so far, me and Louis, we have been riding on different kinds of paths, the rail trails, obviously, and we have been also sharing the roads with the cars. So we have really found out, and we always discuss between us, that the best experience of riding, and in fact, the most stress-free experience is being on the trails. Just being in the nature, meeting different people on the trails, versus being on the road with the cars, which is always, stressful. We don't have the shoulder on the road sometimes. The cars just rush past by. And it's difficult to also talk, between us while riding, on being on the road. So versus being on the trails, it's such a nice experience. That is what we have experienced as one of our special connections with the trails. And always we look forward to, when we plan a route ahead, we always look forward to, when's the next trail and when can we have that kind of an experience.
Yeah. Also, like, according to some studies published in the Outdoor magazine in 2019, there's like 3 cyclists that are killed every day in the US alone, and all of them are like in bike sharing situations. So in the trail, we are practically safe. And also, I think people that are not using trails because of some found like danger that they think that's there, like, they should just start going. Like, it's not like a dark alley where you will find like some hidden dangers. It's just like very safer than most of the sidewalks in the city.
Brandi, what I liked about the trails is that no matter what, strangers were on there, almost you had a connection. So as we were riding, and if you stopped for any reason, every cyclist that passed you, or even people that are running and walking, they were asked, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need anything?" I was on one trail one day and I sort of dehydrated. I got really thirsty. Immediately, I had 2 cold bottles of water from strangers, as if, we've been knowing each other, but they were like, we'll wait here with you, or we'll do whatever. So I feel very safe, just like everyone else. Very, very safe on the trails, and you have a connection with whoever else is on that trail.
Like an immediate family. Everybody, whether you're walking, hiking. I was just in Iowa, actually, Claudia, and I got to visit the High Trestle Trail. We were there for the induction of the Raccoon River Valley Trail into the Hall of Fame, but we went and did the High Trestle at night because it's, the lights and it's a whole thing. And we saw roller skaters with these cool like disco roller skates that lit up. I mean, you just have this connection with so many different types of people and types of trail users, age, wherever you're from, it really doesn't matter.
Even if when I am alone, I mean, walking in a trail completely alone, just with my dog, I feel safe. And that it's amazing because at least, unfortunately, in Mexico, you can feel it, that safely. So this is great because sometimes I just, I look around and it's like, I'm completely alone. And it's just great. And I feel absolutely safe.
Karen and Tomas, you both shared with us that you used to ride a lot, but on the road. So what's the difference? What makes the trail such a different experience for you?
I think most of it is what everybody said. I totally agree that we feel really safe out there. You can really put in a lot of miles. You can pick up your speed. You can just enjoy yourself. It's just so relaxing. And we have so much fun. We were out there this morning. We meet, like all the folks have said, so many great people. We were riding with an 82-year-old man that was killing us. We see mothers with strollers with infants. I agree with Theresa. Everybody, greets each other. Everybody's friendly. We stop at picnic tables and visit with people, and people are moving in all different styles on skates, rollerblades, skateboards, wheelchairs, bikes, e-bikes, and everybody is friendly to each other and very safe, and it's so comfortable. So we just love that. It's so much better than the road.
Yeah. Well, like, one of the things that we experienced on the first trails that we did at the start of the ride, we started meeting a lot of people, and they give us like these really nice tips, and we're still connected to them. So I think trails is a great place to meet people, interact with a lot of cyclists, hikers, people walking their dogs. So it's a cool community there.
Sean, you shared that you just recently started a friends group for your trail. And so I'm curious, what's your take on the community that's forming around the trail in your town?
Well, the trail where I go to, the organization I started, it represents Tunnel Hill State Trail here in Southern Illinois. It's a 45-mile rail trail, and it goes through quite a few small little towns in Southern Illinois that have little mom and pop shops that a lot of people don't know about. And I'm really a big advocate of shop local and just experiencing, this outdoor adventure in these little towns. And that's one of the big reasons why I made the organization, to try to help the local community, try to help the economy, because our outdoor stuff is really what we have here in Southern Illinois.
So we've got a few folks on here who I would argue are like adventure cyclists at this point. So Theresa and Albert, you share that you guys have done more than 3,000 miles. Karen and Tomas, you've been biking every single day on trails. Sushil and Luis are going for 6,800 miles, 6,900 miles, get that right. But one of the things that I think is so neat, in particular, Claudia and Sean, Theresa and Albert, how many of those miles, how much of your time outside is close to home?
Well, for us, for Albert and I, we started more in our home, and we did a lot of the mid to northern Florida. But then we took it on the road and hit Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi. So Albert, I'm sure I'm missing some.
Yeah, North Carolina and Georgia, because listen, once you start, right, because we were local celebrities around the neighborhood, right? We have a large neighborhood that you can do 15, 20 miles around, and that's all we did. We would ride every weekend, and people would just honk at us on these 40, 50-pound bikes. And then one of my employees, told us about the trail in Palacta, St. Augustine to Palacta. And we said, okay, it was about 45 minutes just to find where the trail started. But nonetheless, we did, and we rode it. We realized that everyone was just passing us because our bikes were like 40, 50 pounds. And then we decided to upgrade to these carbon fiber bikes and so on. And, it's the journey is really what has been so good to us. Just the stages that you go through, from riding those 50-pound bikes to now you're riding 15-pound bikes, right? And we have taken it one step further because we just could not find where the trails are. Where did it start? We just couldn't find it. And so we decided to start a group, Rails to Trail Reviews, where every week we ride and then we do a review of the trail, bathroom facilities, what's the address for the starting point, the scenery, pictures, and so on. And we are now a kind of a local celebrity. Everywhere we go, people recognize us from posting on Rails to Trails and say, hey, we know you guys. And we were at Shamrock not so long ago, and they came over and said, we know you guys are the ones who do the reviews. So it really has just been an amazing experience. And I just continue we continue to pay it forward and just ask people to find these trails. It's not just from a physiological perspective in terms of losing weight and being healthier, but also from a psychological perspective, from a mental health perspective, and just the benefit that you can get from just going out and being able to socially mix with other people in a safe way and just ride. So it really has been amazing for us.
Love it.
I think with us, we started, maybe our first one was the Calhaven Trail. And then when we decided to take off in our camper, we really didn't know where to go either. So we had downloaded the TrailLink app. And then we just said, okay, well, where do you want to head to? And we said, well, let's I don't know, find some long trails. So we would pull up a state that's nearby, would make a list of all the long trails that we wanted to hit with the Trail Link app, and then that at least directed us to the spot. And then from there, you could use Google Maps or go to the trail name, and they would a lot of times have a web page. So that enabled us to find campsites there. And so we just routed our path around the U.S. Started in
Yeah, the app was invaluable.
yeah, the app was invaluable as far as
And
parking
sharing.
place and sharing, but we just started from Michigan and went to Indiana, then
Worked all over the country.
yeah, we ended up to South Dakota and going to the Mickelson Trail, which is absolutely beautiful. Anybody's has to go to the Mickelson Trail
And the Katy.
and the Katy Trail. And like I said, we just picked the app and said, okay, we're in this state. Which Trail Link app was really nice because you can just put in the state and then you can you can pick your trails by the distance and the mileage there. And so that was just an invaluable tool to help us plan our trip around the country. So
for those folks at home who don't know, the Trail Link app is a database basically that's been curated by Rails to Trails Conservancy over about 20 years. And so it has about 40,000 miles of multi-use trails logged in there, and you can find reviews and you can find information about where to get those trails. But I love the layering in of the personal experience, like what Theresa and Albert are doing and sharing their journey on trails, and what Hiking with Sean and Sean is doing in Illinois to share his personal journey and connect with those local businesses. You know, the national footprint, our job is to get as many people as we can, you know, in the door, but then that could powerful. And Sushil and Luis, I'm curious, now that you've heard, did you do the Mickelson yet? Because you're in the Dakotas.
No, not yet. Actually, we are in North Dakota at the moment. So we entered North Dakota in Fargo, and then we are going towards Bismarck. We are not following any trails in North Dakota at the moment. I think we're just following the roads parallel to the interstate at this point. Yeah.
If you need a trail break, make your way to South Dakota and the Mickelson Trail. It is as I have not yet experienced it, but I have heard that it is phenomenal. So we're going to close with kind of one question for everybody. And, you know, a big intention here of the Trail Moments Initiative and what we're doing and sharing stories of folks. And I love that everyone here is kind of just an average person who has found trails and decided to do something really special with them. We want folks to continue to be inspired to do that and to know that we can build this infrastructure and we can build these spaces into our daily lives. So just jump on in. What's some advice you have for folks at home about how do they do that? How do they just kind of jump in and get started?
Well, I'll start, and I would say never give up. Do not let your age define you. Even if your children or young whippersnappers say you can't do it, you can do it, and just never give up. Keep pedaling.
Somebody with a Peloton, right, might have had a different opinion for you.
Yeah, the kids always challenge us because they thought that, you know, we were old. There's no way that we can outride them. But if you read our story in Trail Moments, you will see where, you know, they were, properly schooled by the old folks. You know, my advice is to just get out there and enjoy it. You know, there is whatever bike you have, whether it is 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 15 pounds, it really does not matter. What is important is find a trail. There's usually one in your area. Just get out there and ride. It's even 500 feet. Because with the first time I rode, I went about 500 feet and couldn't breathe after that. So it doesn't matter. Start somewhere and just continue. You are going to significantly benefit from that journey.
I would say the thing is, and I think my wife agrees, is just like Albert says, just go out and do it. You're going to find somebody that's just like you out there.
Right.
Today, this gentleman we met today, and actually we met him twice, 82 years old, and he rides like a bat out of hell. It is just so refreshing to see older young people. I mean, people that are just starting that aren't in great shape, but they're out there doing it.
And the moms and dads, early in the morning, we start in the dark with infants in strollers walking. We've made friends with people that we've seen a few times that are out there with their dog every day. And we're just all a big family trying to be healthy, you know? So even if you go a very short distance, it's safe. It's absolutely safe. I totally agree with Claudia. Just get out there. It's safe, feel comfortable, and be kind to each other.
I love that.
I would say exactly. I mean, you don't need to be a super big hiker or biker. I mean, it's good if you do it and it's amazing, but if not, just give yourself the opportunity to connect with nature and be with yourself or with your dog or with your partner or your friend, and just walk a little, you know, on your own pace, the distance that you feel good. And really, you know, give yourself the opportunity to enjoy these magic places.
I think one really good thing about rail trails is the ability to really discover small town America. So while you're out there riding these trails, you know, stop at these little towns and check out these mom and pop businesses and just explore around. That's my advice.
Oh, I love that, Sean. Final word, Sushil and Luis, what's your advice to folks who are like, how do I do this?
Well, my advice is just go out and enjoy it. Even if you go out for 10 minutes or 1 hour, it doesn't matter. Like trails don't have like a sort of advanced or medium like level. There's just no level to enjoy it. You can just go for 10, 20 minutes a day and enjoy it. Like you also don't have to go on a bike, whatever you want to like go there like to enjoy it. Just don't take a motorbike.
Yeah, just as everybody else said, you know, just it's a way to connect with people, the local communities, the small towns. It's a great way to discover just the local stuff as well. So yeah, just get out there. You'll just enjoy the nature.
Yeah, we definitely have been meeting people that are just, they tell us, oh, I'm waiting for the sunset. They're sitting in a bench, like looking at a really nice view, waiting for the sunset.
I often say to folks that ask, you know, what are rail trails? What's the value of a rail trail? And I often say it can be an invitation to the outdoors because they're in so many of our communities. They're easy to access. You don't need a fancy bike. You don't need fancy equipment. If you've got some sneakers, that's all you need to get out there and give it a try. And I think you all have shared that so nicely. So thank you very much. And for anyone who is looking for some inspiration or some motivation to get outside, do check out the Trail Moment stories. They're really powerful connections to kind of what trails have done for different folks and kind of why people get outside in different ways. There's a lovely story of a gentleman who went on a very long through bike ride with 6 kids, I believe. Very brave soul there. I don't know what's more challenging, 6 kids or meeting an alligator on the trail. But anyhow, thank you all so much. Stay tuned, watch this space for the update about our Trail Moments Challenge winner in the next few days. And let's stay in touch. Let us know your stories. Share with us at Rails to Trails, #Trail Moments. And we'd love to spread the word about what you're doing out there.